Okay people, how you doing? Tim Davies again, Fast Jet Performance. Ask FJP, I've got my show notes. I am driving to a conference, got a 30-minute speaking gig on performance and leadership. So whenever someone said, do you work in the weekends? Normally we don't work at the weekends, but sometimes I'll do one of these things to help people out and to get the Air Force out there into the community. So a few questions then that have come in the show comments, then I'll go through them real quick. There was something I was going to add on to the end, in fact. Oh yeah, that was right. It was about a guy that was going to join, and he was asking what aircraft he was going to fly in his time frame for coming out of IoT. Just briefly, just see myself. These sunglasses here, these are actually Oakley's. They're heavyweight, is the worst. They actually act as blast fragmentation and eye protection wear. You can wear them in theatre. As I said, the Oakley's are slightly heavier material. I don't know where you can buy them on the city market. When I was out in Kabul back in 2011, we got some of these out there because we had to protect our eyes, and it was so bright, the light out there. So, and I just found these were easier to wear than the normal goggle thing. So, Google them if you want. You know, advanced protection, Oakley, see what you can find. This is why I'm wearing them, because it's bright. As I said, I'm below Birmingham somewhere right now, heading to Worcester, I think it is. Not too sure where I'm going. Anyway, let's have a chat then. So the first question came in from a 21-year-old looking to join the Royal Australian Air Force. Those guys fly Hornets, so a good bunch of guys. And in fact, we've got an Australian on our squadron at the moment, flying with me out on. He's actually transferred into our Air Force. You can do that. So, what about that then? Yeah, do you go and live a little? He said before he joins, and I get that because the Australian Air Force are slightly different to our Air Force. They're like we were, but probably back in the 80s, I guess. So they're a bit more regimented. Still a great bunch of guys. Got some great airplanes, some great people. Now, this is the thing. Would I defer my entry if I had an entry? No, I wouldn't. I'd go straight in. I'd take the opportunity because it may not come around again. I'd get in. If anything, what you could do is secure and defer. So you secure entry, and during the offer, when you get the offer, you say to them, I'd like to defer entry by a year, please. That's acceptable. Most Air Forces would be happy to do that. And then you can just go and spend a year in Thailand doing whatever you want to do. That might be the best thing. That's what I said to him. So I'd always apply when you think it's the best time for you to apply. So if you get an opportunity after your A-levels, just apply and then just chat to them, interview. You can always say, I really want to get into the service. I really want to go traveling first. Can I defer that? Talk it through at interview. These are normal guys. Okay. Another guy asked a question about the guys he sees at air shows that have taken jets down there. So there might be the Typhoon guy, the GR4 guys or whatever, the guy who flies the King Air down, whatever it might be. How are those guys chosen to take that jet to the air show? I used to do that. I'm not a big fan of it personally. There's a lot of work involved. You've got to plan to get in and out. If you go to a show like Fairford, you're not treated great at Fairford. Personally, that's how I feel about it. Well, that's how it used to be anyway. There's like bus in, bus out. It's not a great time. So younger guys tend to do that. They tend to want to stand around and chat about the jet. So some of our young instructors, we may even get a student to take a jet down as well. When the student is in phase 4 advanced flying training, they're pretty responsible people. Of course, the captains of the airplane as well, and you can give them the airplane and say, take this to Fairford, stand with it all day, turn the jet, bring it home on Monday. So anyone that puts their hands up and wants to do it, sure, take the jet. And we'll try and fill both seats as well, so we can share the either the flying, or we can share the standing around chatting to the British public about the airplane, which is great. So that's it. If you ask to take a jet to an air show, yeah, we'll let you do that. Right. One guy asked how. Now this guy, he's not going to university, so he wants to apply without being university, and he's worried about how the service will look at him in comparison to a guy that's been to university. So he's saying, how can he be competitive against these other guys? He feels he hasn't got any life experience, and a guy that's been to university has. Well, he's wrong. He probably has just as much life experience as that guy that's been to university. Is the truth. The guy that's been to university, sat in a classroom for 3 years, you know, and you know how I feel about university. I'm not saying that university is the best thing for everyone, especially now when 50% of people go to university. I think if you're going to turn up to OASC or AIB without being at university, that's a good thing. You just need to tell them why you'd rather join the service as opposed to going to university. I prefer the hands-on learning. As you know, I'm not a massive sat in a classroom guy, and I don't like that regimented procedural form of educational processes. I've never liked. There needs a bit of a shake-up, a bit of a change. In fact, the guy I follow, Prince EA, just put a video up. I just watched that. I posted it on Fast Jet Performance on the Facebook page. about these regimented processes of education, and it just shows you that the classroom hasn't changed in about 100 years, whereas everything else in the world does develop. Education doesn't. Fine, get political now. So don't worry if you haven't been in university. Get yourself in there, get yourself into the careers office, and talk to them about how you can bring value to the service, what you can offer the service. And remember, it's not about, I get a lot of people saying, I want to fly fast jets, I want to fly helicopters. Go and tell the service what you can offer them, okay? Not what you can take from them. How are you going to bring value to the service? How are you different to everyone else? All right? How is what you've got to offer different to what the next guy has to offer? That's what you've got to convince them about. You've got to tell them that you're going to work twice as hard. And here's the other thing about working hard, guys. When one of my guys is failing, if he's failing flying training, I'm looking at him because I'm wondering whether to remove him from flying training or not. And we'll do everything in phase 4, especially to keep that guy in the service because he's cost us so much money. If they are failing, I'm much more likely to keep that guy in the service if I see him in the building first thing and I see him in the building last thing. If he's outworking the other guys, then I know that he's good for the front line. And I know that, I developed personally when I hit the Tornado GL4 OCU. I just literally, coin a phrase, whatever, just took off. But that's where I really excelled. I really enjoyed the Tornado, and I didn't really enjoy Bally on 2-8 Squadron, and I didn't really enjoy 19 Squadron as it was at the time. I didn't really enjoy the people that were on those squadrons trying to teach me. Yeah, I just didn't like that. So let's have a look. Where am I going here? Gotcha! Not lost this time. I will be if I don't slow down. So that's what I'm saying. If he's outworking other people, I'll put the time in for him. I'll sit there in the evening with him. I'll come back into the building at 9 or 10 o'clock and we'll go through planning or whatever it is he's having an issue with. So whenever you're struggling, just think, outwork your opponent. If you want to see someone outwork someone, go look up the videos of a guy called Matt Fraser. He's a CrossFitter. He's a CrossFit athlete. I've got a slight man crush on him. It's all right to have man crushes on guys. It's 2016 already. I'm happily married. But Matt Fraser outworks other people. That's what he does. That's why he wins. He won the 2016 CrossFit Championships, or CrossFit Games, I believe it was. Reebok CrossFit Games. And his work ethic is something that I can't even come close to. I wish I could. But go and have a look at some of his videos on YouTube. He's got a massive beard. He's a great guy. He's huge. He's a superb athlete. I've got a lot of time for Matt Fraser, and he's humble as well. And that's the thing that makes a good pilot, by the way. A good pilot isn't just the guy that's good with his hands. I know a lot of good pilots. The good pilot is the one that's always evaluating his or her actions. And if they do something wrong, they come back in the debrief and they learn from that. That's what makes a good pilot, okay? There aren't any good pilots out there if they're not humble. Next question. Living the dream. All right, what other job in the Royal Air Force would I have done if I wasn't flying? There's a lot of good jobs in the Air Force, to be honest with you. I've always liked the engineering side of things, but as an officer you get very much into the management side pretty quickly. There's a lot of good jobs. Geez, I like the regiment, Royal Air Force Regiment. Those are a bunch of awesome guys. And actually, if you look what they were doing in Iraq and Afghanistan, they became very special forces oriented very quickly. They developed some awesome skill sets out there, and the guys are just a bunch of absolute heroes. They really are. I've got a lot of time for the RAF Regiment. That might have gone that way. What else? In the Air Force, I don't know. In the Marines, I probably would have joined the Marines, I think, or probably joined the British Army. Would I have driven ships in the Navy? No, I don't think I would have driven ships in the Navy, having been on a ship. I do like that lifestyle. Would I have been on submarines? I like the professional aspect of the submarine service and the surface service in the Navy as well. The Navy is exceptionally professional and a very academic organisation, as is the Air Force. But yeah, okay, what would I have done? I don't really know. I don't think I would have stayed in the Air Force if I hadn't been flying after I had become a pilot, that is. But would I have joined as anything else in the Air Force? Yeah, I would have done. There's a lot of great trades in the Air Force. Worth having a look on YouTube, look for some videos about those trades. And if you are interested in a different trade or whatever, then give me a call. I think someone mentioned air traffic recently, and I'm going to try and find some stuff out about him joining as an air trafficker, because that's a great trade, actually, air traffic. And when you guys leave air traffic, you make some big money as well. Civilian air traffickers are paid a lot of money. Right. Let's have a look. What time are we looking at now? I don't know. I've got someone that's just trying to do some social stuff with me. 10 minutes. Get out of the way. I'll get all these kind of pop-ups from Facebook. Okay. Red Arrows. Would you join the Red Arrows? No, that's not for me. That's all good. I've got a lot of guys in the Reds. I like the Reds a lot, actually. What they do is actually quite difficult. It's full on. They're always working weekends, obviously, by the very nature of their job. Would I have joined them? It's not what I wanted to do. One of my men recently applied. I don't think he turned them down, but I think once he'd seen the Reds and how they were working and what they were doing, it just wasn't for him, and that's understandable. A lot of guys want to fly for the Reds, and it takes a certain individual. It does. They always balance the team as a very sort of alpha and then a not so alpha personality. It's got to be in balance. It's actually quite difficult. I did an investigation into the team back in 2011 after the death of a friend of mine, John Eggin, and I think I've written about that before. So I saw the team in a very difficult year. The year John was killed. Sean Cunningham, a friend of mine, was also killed. So I've seen the team in a difficult year. Would I have joined the Reds? No, they do the same thing 3 times a day, every day. What they do is very interesting, and I like instructing a lot more, I think, so I don't want to be in the Reds. A lot of guys do, and the guys they take are the best pilots that they can find, if those pilots are released from the front line, of course. The front line has a priority. Some great guys in the Red Arrows, though, and I'm a big fan of the boss as well at the moment. Big fan. Right, RF versus commercial, that question came in. Do I join the RF now, then go into commercial aviation, or do I go straight into commercial aviation? That is a really difficult question for me to answer. How do you answer that? It's a difficult one. You got to do what you want to do, and that's like great advice, isn't it? Do what you want to do. Follow your passion. Don't follow your passion, by the way. That will end in absolute tears. What would I do? Right. Obviously, I went into the Air Force. A lot of my guys now are leaving the Air Force to join commercial airlines. There's a big recruitment drive on with the commercial airlines, which is catching the Air Force out, unfortunately. But we did tell the Air Force about 3 or 4 years ago this was going to happen, and they didn't really listen to us. And that's a Manning issue. And fair enough, they're losing a lot of guys. We are a lot of guys down, which is why you're finding now that the Air Force has a huge recruitment drive on. Not that it will help them, of course, because I cannot train those people quick enough at the moment. That's just what it is. But we're working ways of doing that at the moment. And bringing these new platforms in is going to help us. These new aircraft will help us train more people quicker. So, yes, join the airlines now or go into the Air Force. You've got to sort that one out, guys. I don't know. I think I've got a lot of guys flying for the airlines and they're incredibly bored, but they have a lot of stability in their lives and they only work 15 days a month. So they get 15 days a month off. I mean, I get 8 days, right? I get the weekend. So they get a bit more than me. Most guys have a side hustle going on. But of course, you've got to remember, the marriages suffer because that guy will be at home maybe on a Tuesday, Wednesday. His wife's at work, and then he's away for the weekend flying, and his wife's at home. What kind of lifestyle is that? If you want that kind of lifestyle, fine. Now, in flying training, we get our weekends off, mostly. On the front line, that doesn't happen. The Typhoons will work 1 weekend out of every 4 on QRA. And they've got Falklands times, they've got detachments. So yeah, they can be busy as well over weekends, but we try and obviously get the guys as much time off as we physically can. Obviously everyone's a bit undermanned at the moment. Of course we're undermanned, because the Air Force didn't listen to us when we told them that they would be. And also back in 2008 or 9, they got rid of about 170 pilots. You can look that up. They'd removed them from flying training. And at the time we said, don't do this, you'll leave a hole. But they did it anyway, and they've left a hole. Guys, 15 minutes, I think that was the last question there. Yeah, so one of the guys asked if he enters IOT now, he's just been accepted into Initial Officer Training, Cranwell, what is he going to fly? Will he end up flying the T6? And yes, he probably will end up flying the T6. If he comes out of IOT beginning of 2018, he will be probably flying the Grob 120 TP, and he probably will be flying the T6C as well during his time at Cranwell and Valley. Right, that's it, guys. I know I speak quickly, but I don't have enough time to record all this stuff and get it out there quickly, okay? So I do apologise, maybe learn to listen faster. I'm just kidding. Thanks so much, really appreciate it. Hook me up with some questions in the notes. Tim Davies, Fast Jet Performance.